Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Catatonia's YouTube channel, starring me, the Mighty Cryo. This is Bosses Only, the video series where we look at just the bosses from a dungeon, because you're not stuck on trash, you're stuck on bosses. From the Harrowstorm DLC, this is Unhallowed Grave, and it's a rather fun dungeon if you like grappling and floating all around the place. We're going to be doing lots of that here. Let's go to boss number 1, Nabor the Forgotten. I don't know why he's so forgotten, but let's start beating him up. So he's a pretty straightforward gentleman. You basically just, usual, tank, taunt him, turn him around. Watch the middle of the room. See this big spreading AoE? It happens in the center and on several other of these outlying islands. Grapple to a safe one, wait for it to explode. If you're in it when it explodes, you'll die, or I think if you're too close to the edge, you can also get knocked off the side. When you've got him about a quarter of his health knocked off, he's going to start spawning ads. They're archers, and they will channel and hit you, and that can knock you flying too. If the tank gets close enough to the edge of the main center island, you can actually chain them over, and they can be cleaved down with the boss. He's also got, as you saw there, this big spreading AoE thing, so just sort of block through that, but the main thing to watch out for is when he does this, the big spreading AoE. Look for a safe island where that's not happening, go out to it, bash the man, and kill the man if possible, wait for the explosion, and grapple back to the middle, and then continue attacking the man. It's not terribly tough, so that's what you do, and then eventually he will die, and you'll be alive, and he'll be dead, and it'll be great. There we go, he's dead. Very dank. Loot your lockpicks, and grapple your way back over there. Look at that urn, it's now been powered up, and you can pull a rather tasty buff out of it. Obtained Forgotten Strength. What does Forgotten Strength give us? Catatonia, please may we have a look. Forgotten Strength. Your grappling bow is empowered, damaging monsters in your path and near the post. It also reveals nearby grapple posts hidden by Voria. Weapon and spell damage increased by 275, and by more than that if you're a necromancer. So, boss number 2. Who is this guy, and what does he do? Hakgrym the Howler. He's a werewolf, believe it or not, and he's got 2 little skeleton werewolf friends helping him out at the start. They don't really do anything, just slap you, you can slap them back and kill them as quickly as you can and get rid of them. Usual sort of big heavy attack that the boss does, and as you can see right here, lich crystals. These pop up all the time throughout the fight, so just get out of the AoE, and you won't be damaged when they explode. Periodically, the boss is going to summon a big totem that shoots bullets at you. He's just done it there. There it is over there. Go destroy that thing, because you don't want to keep getting shot. That's rather painful. The boss then will release the chains on one of these big beefcake men, and he will then become the priority target. Kill the beefcake as quickly as you can, because he's going to make a humongous circular AoE thing, big circle of poo. If you stand in that, it really hurts. If he is up for too long, he's going to keep placing those. You could end up with the entire floor covered with them. That's not what you want, so kill that beefcake. Very dank, the beefcake is dead, and the boss is going to go and take the chains off the other beefcake, so it's the same thing again. Burn that beefcake as quickly as you can, because he's going to lay one of those humongous circles of poo on the floor, and you don't want to be standing in that. Get rid of him as quickly as you can, and then you can continue attacking the boss. So he's about to put his poo circle down, and the poo circle will persist for a few seconds even after the beefcake dies. Once you've got the boss to just about dead, he transforms into one of those werewolf behemoth things, and the first thing he's going to do is charge. He will charge in a random direction, nothing the tank can do about it, don't scream at the tank. And he'll do this twice, and he'll leave a trail of skeletons behind him, so don't waste your ulti or your ground DOTs where he ends up after the first charge. Wait until he does the second charge. You are now free to lay down all your different things, and no, he's running away because the tank was stood over there and he went to the tank. Lich crystals, stay out of those. And it's the same now, except now you've got some extra werewolf skeletons and him. He does usual werewolf behemoth things, big channeled heavy attack, big stomp that sends out a trail of AoEs, avoid those. But as long as the tank's got him turned away, it's not going to be too bad. Everybody shoot him in the bum until he dies. Very dank. Loot your lockpicks and your manganese and star metal, and we'll head through this door, which I would imagine leads us to the next boss. The Keeper of the Kiln. This boss is actually a lot simpler than it seems. There's quite a lot going on. There's also 2 little men that the boss is going to kill right at the start, but it's really fun to chain them away from the boss and kill them yourself. I don't think you even get XP for killing them. It's just funny that if you leave them alone, the boss will kill them. But it's fun to just chain them away and be like, lol. Anyway, attack the man. So what does the man do? The man, turn him away, Mr. Tank, because one of his big attacks is a cleave. There you go, you can see the cone on the floor telegraphing it. If a DPS is standing there, it's probably a one-shot. That big heavy attack can hurt quite a lot. The tank can block it, no problem. But here's the big issue that we're going to have. The room catches fire. See those grates? They're all smoking. And there are these 4, like, circles on the floor. 1 DPS, Catatonia is doing it. Grapple yourself up top and grapple around looking for a symbol similar to the ones that are on the ground. When you find it, you've got an interact. You can activate it, and that will correspond to something on the floor. The tank will then see that, and he'll know to bring him over there. The boss will then have a little bit of a damage shield. Break it as quick as you can, and once it's gone, the boss will stab the floor, the fire will go out, and you can continue damaging the man. And as you can see at that point, some ads come to life. I think they actually come to life at a percentage of his health, but they're quick to burn down, but they do hit hard. So tank, you need to taunt all of them and get them over there with the boss. You can chain them in. He's just done it with that one. Same thing again. The room catches fire. DPS. Grapple yourself up top. You're looking for a symbol. We happen to get the same one again. Activate it, and there'll be a glowy effect on the floor showing where the boss needs to be taken that'll match the thing you activated up top. Take him over there, break the damage shield, the boss will stab the floor, and the room will stop being on fire. Here's some more statues that have come to life. Tank, get their attention, bring them over. Everybody else, just burn them in with the poo, and it's this, rinse and repeat. One thing I did forget to mention, archers actually spawn up top on those places that you can grapple to. I think you can chain them down if you want to, or you can ignore them and block. They're annoying, but they're not going to be the thing that causes the biggest issues. The thing that causes the biggest issues is this bit. Make sure, when the room catches fire, somebody goes up there to find the right symbol. Activate it, and then the tank will know exactly where to bring the man. He's got a little bit of a damage shield. Destroy it as quickly as you can, and then the boss will stab the floor and put the fire out. This fire starts to hurt more and more and more the longer it goes on, until eventually everybody dies. So you really need to follow this mechanic properly to make sure the fire goes out and that the man can be killed. Again, make sure to keep his back to everybody so that cleaves don't hit the group. Loot your lockpicks and your rubbish. You can go grab the first buff if you missed it from the first secret boss here, but there's no new buff from that. But there will be a new buff from the next boss. So this is Voria. If you remember, I mentioned when we looked at the details for the first buff you get, that you can see hidden posts, that Voria is hidden. This is Voria. What that basically means is you can't get to this second hidden boss unless you defeat the first hidden boss. So, let's start beating her up. What does she do? She's got a sword and board, and she does sword and board things. Bashes you, hits you. Tank, just hold her and have her pointed away from the group. Everybody shoot her in the back. There's another totem thing, just like the werewolf boss from before. You want to destroy those when they pop up, because they're annoying. Eventually, she's going to jump away, and you can do some Indiana Jones stuff with your grapple to get to the other side of the ravine, and you'll see this is very similar to the hidden bosses in March of Sacrifices, the Indrix, where she's in a gold circle, and if that circle fills all the way, she will run away. She then turns into a great big Skeletor, but otherwise she's exactly the same. Beat her up as much as you can, and she's going to jump back across the ravine, and you're going to have to chase her by grappling between those 2 points to get over there to her. So, smack her around until she runs away, and then we're going to chase her. This boss isn't that difficult compared to what is still to come in this dungeon. There she goes, she's running away, we're going to chase after her. So look up on the wall there's a grapple point, and fall down, make sure you target that one, grapple over. Here's the circle that's filling up. Make sure that you beat the crap out of her before that circle gets full. And now it's just the same thing again, except this time she isn't in big, huge, beefy Skeletor mode. So, we've almost got her now. Remember, don't stand where the tank is standing. Watch out for AoEs on the floor, look out for those totem things, and when you see them, destroy them. In this case, it looks like we're ignoring it because we've almost killed her. Very dank, she's dead. And loot your lockpicks. Apparently we're going to open a chest instead. That's probably full of in fact, we're going to use a lockpick to loot some lockpicks. Did we get a lockpick? No, but we got a ring. That's pretty cool. Anyway, as you can see over there's another urn that's been powered up with another buff. So let's get the buff. Catatonia, would you please show us what the second buff is that we just got? After this loading screen, lol. It's going to show us. Here we go. Look, she's going to show us. Voria's authority grants the ability to break magical seals placed by Voria. Magic and stamina recovery increased by 3% or 5% if you're a necromancer. So that's very dank. Pretty much you should probably just bring all necromancers in here. Anyway, let's head through this door. Probably going to lead us to the next boss. In fact, it did, and this isn't even an edit, that's really on the other side of that door. So, this boss, this is actually really easy. You're not going to have any trouble here, I don't think, as long as you use this one simple trick. So this is the eternal Aegis, Aegis? However you want to say it, that's what his name is, and he's one of those multi-armed sword-wielding psychopath things. Everybody's stacked directly on his bum. He throws his swords out, avoid those, and then he does this big spinny thing. As you can see, you're safe inside the donut or outside the donut, but you're better off staying right inside. He spawns all these little minis, they die very quickly, and as long as everyone in the group is stacked right there, they won't go all over the place and cause you any problems. They'll just die in all the AoE. Literally, this is as tank and spank as it gets. Just stand right on his bum and attack him until he dies. It's very, very straightforward. If you don't stand exactly there, all kinds of craziness can happen, but if you stay right there and just burn, it's over in no time. Let's go attack this one. Oh boy, this boss is fun. Ondagore the Mad is a lich, and he's extremely beefy, and this could be quite a challenging boss fight unless you know what you're doing, which you're about to know exactly what you're doing, because I'm going to assist by attempting to tell you. So, one thing you really need to pay attention to is when he summons ads. There's going to be little ghosts. They aren't too bad, you know, just they'll get cleaved down along with the boss. The bad ad is the humongous bone colossus. Whenever there's a big bone colossus up, he must die. As you notice, all around the outside of the room are grapple points and poisonous poo. That poisonous poo is going to come into the middle when you get the boss down to about 80% of his health, I think it is. So here's the ghosts. They aren't too much of a problem. They just get cleaved down. Attack the man, watch out for his spells, kill that bone colossus that spawned, and now the poison poo is all in the middle of the room. So grapple yourself out to the edge and kill these ghosts. If you got the buffs from the secret boss, whenever you grapple to one of these grapple points and hit one of those ghosts, he'll take damage, and eventually he'll end up getting killed just by you grappling into him, which is very good. Once you have killed every ghost on one of these platforms around the outside, all the poison poo that's in the middle is going to return to these outer ledges. At that point, you can see it's coming back now, you need to grapple back to the center as quick as you can. Very good. And now we can get back on the boss. If you're in that poisonous poo, you're going to get hurt. Now we're going to see another rather awful mechanic coming up very shortly when he summons a bunch of ghostly ghosts around the edges of the room. Not these ones. These are just the crappy weak ones. Oh, and the bone colossus, of course, need to kill that. Shelter behind pillars. When the boss is channeling that blue stuff, he's going to create a humongous explosion of instant death. You just saw a wave of explosive poo come flying across the room. You don't want to be touched by that. Line of sight yourself between the boss and the pillar, and the wave, when it explodes out, won't hit you. There we go, and now it's safe to come out again. These ghosts, once they are all killed, he won't do that shelter behind pillar mechanic anymore, but you will be subject to having to go back around the outside of the room and kill ghosts there, because the poison poo is going to come back to the middle. But there's a way to make sure you never have to do that whole part again, ever. Make sure we kill this bone colossus as well, because he keeps spawning those, and you want to get rid of them, otherwise you're going to end up with multiple of them, and they hit hard. So, we're going to leave one of those ghosts alive, which means he's going to be doing this shelter thing for the entire rest of the fight, but the poison poo will never come back to the center, and we will never have to go to the outside and do all that ever again. All we have to do is wait until he starts channeling the blue stuff, and go hide behind a pillar. So, we've also got an add-on telling us when to do it, so that's useful if you're on PC. If you're on console, just watch for him going up and channeling the blue stuff like that. That's your cue to get behind a pillar. Come back out while you're safe to, damage the boss as much as you can, and then when you see him channeling once again, go back behind the pillar. Make sure that there is a perfect line of sight with the pillar between you and the boss. That way you won't get hit by the explosive wave. And then you can just take the boss down at your leisure, without having to worry about doing the outside Indiana Jones ghost hunting adventure. Back behind the pillar. Oh, never mind. We've already defeated him. Very dank. Loot your rubedite maul and your poison. And let's grapple ourselves to the exit and make our way to the final secret boss. So, Voria's masterpiece. Another really big, extremely beefy, burly, hunky monster thing. This is actually a really fun fight because, as you can see, there are grapple points all around the room, and remember, when you've got those buffs, grappling will damage anything that's near the post or anything you pass through. This boss does enormous poo circles. Get out of those. When he does them, little skeletons will come up. You can just, taunt them, bring them over near the boss, and they'll die in AoE relatively quickly. But they've got big channeled heavy attacks. Tank can block those. DPS try not to get hit by those. They hurt. The other thing he does, little smaller AoEs. There's lots of little poos and snots everywhere, and occasionally you're going to see these big green bogey things spawn, so watch out for those. Now, they've got unbelievably high health, but you can grapple through them and break them in half, so it's really fun to split the poos, and eventually the last little pieces will die. So just keep grappling into them to destroy them. Meanwhile, keep as many dots as you can on the boss, and the tank really needs to sort of carefully skirt around the edge of the big island in the middle, so that when he lays all those giant poo circles, there's still places for the DPS to stand and damage the boss. You really don't want to have him in the middle of the room, because when those circles are down, they are down, and there's nowhere for anybody to stand. And he's dead very dank. One thing I should point out, that green water all around the edge, it's horrible pain. Don't step in it. So let's get our final buff, Abominable Bulwark. And I don't think Cat showed us what it did, so I put a picture of it right there. Max health increased by 2500, reduces damage taken by 3%, and a bit more than that if you're a necromancer. And now here we are at Kjalnar Tombskald, the final boss. So let's interact with this little skull thing to give ourselves a headache, and activate the hard mode. And what a hard mode this is. This is an absolute tank slayer of a hard mode, and your tank really has to be paying attention, and without those buffs from the hidden bosses, it's even harder, especially on hard mode. Fortunately, we have the buffs. The worst thing for the tank that you have almost no warning to deal with is the skeleton hand, which pops up out of the ground, there it is, and you have almost no warning, it'll CC you. You've got to break free immediately. If that hits you and you're not blocking, you're probably going to die. Abyss, you've just seen it there. A trail of little, like, dusty poos comes out from his feet and goes towards everybody. If you're quick, you can just sidestep them or dodge roll. And then there's the Vile Confinement, you've seen it there. It's all these, like, weird-looking stalactite things that pop up out of the ground. Get away from them real quick, because they will explode, and if you're in amongst them, you will die. So just get away from them. Their range isn't that great, and they'll explode, and then you can get back on the boss again. Healer really needs to be paying attention to the tank, because that skeleton hand is absolute murder. Now, skeletons. Little skeletons, the blast bones, they run towards these runes in the middle, they power up, and then they charge at you and explode. If you see them coming, you can dodge roll them. Other than that, you can kill them as quick as you can, but the real problem is the big skeleton with the two-handed sword. The tank has actually chained him in there, you can see he's about to get killed. If that guy gets to the rune, he will enrage, his health will be even more, and he will hit incredibly hard. And these happen periodically, it's like time-based, not health-based. So if you don't deal with these skeletons, you can end up with dozens of them and be overwhelmed. So, when a big two-handed skeleton spawns, tank needs to chain it over and immediately CC it to the floor with whatever ability you've got, you know, if you've got the talons, to make him stop moving. That will stop him from getting to the rune and give the DPS a chance to damage him, but after a second the talons will go away and the skeleton will immediately start heading toward a rune again. Give it enough time and you can chain him back over and CC him again, and you can keep doing this indefinitely until he is killed, because obviously the DPS are going to want to deal with all the other little skeletons that charge at you and explode. So, skeletons, absolutely terrible and awful. All this is going on at the same time as the Abyss move, and there's also that thing he just did there, where he spins around and throws out all these little poos. If you get too close to those, they explode on you. You can see them sort of sticking up out of the floor all over the place. They're like mines, almost. If you get too near them, kaboom, and you lose your legs. So watch out for those. But by far the worst thing for the tank is that skeleton hand. If you have even a little bit of your health gone and it pops up on you, it can instantly kill you. You've got to be blocking and you've got to be ready to break free immediately, and your healer has absolutely got to keep you topped up, because the skeleton hand is the ultimate tank slayer in this particular fight. Skeletons again, DPS are going to try to take out the little blast bones. If they make it to those runes and they power up, they will then charge at you and explode. Like I said, it can be dodge rolled, so that's always useful, but ideally you want to kill them as quickly as possible. One other thing I think is worth mentioning with the skeletons, the littler ones, the blast bones, they pop up absolutely all around the room. Don't worry if they're too far away from the big guys, let them get powered up, let them charge, and just try to dodge roll if you can. Don't worry about being all across the room. The most important thing is staying on the boss and getting rid of the big two-handed skeletons. As you can see, we ended up with 2 of them here. One of them we were able to take down very quickly, but we're still working on the other. Vile Confinement, again, you've just seen it here. It's these little stalagmite things that pop up. Don't be too close to them, because if they explode, you will die. But the range isn't very big, so if they pop up, just get away from them a bit, let them explode, and then get back in on the boss. Keep your eye out for Abyss. He'll raise his hand before he does it, and then he'll stomp, and out they come. If they run through you, it can kill you. That damage can be blocked, it can be dodge rolled, but it's honestly more economical for your resources to just step to the side. At about half his health, he goes over to this hill of bones and summons an absolutely gigantic skeleton. And this guy does an icy breath thing. You can dodge roll, or you can block. It's better to dodge roll, honestly. But while that guy is there, there's also all the other mechanics. The Vile Confinement, the Abyss, the Skeleton Hand. All of that is still happening. And also now we have this meteor that the big humongous skeleton summons that'll come down on a random person. I'm not 100% on this, but I think it goes on whoever is furthest away from the rest of the group. So try to stay close together, but remember, keep your eye out for those skeletons, step aside when the Abyss happens, get away from the Vile Confinement, watch out for the Skeleton Hand, and keep the tank's health topped up. It's all going to be all happening at all times. It's just that now you've also got Ice Breath and meteors coming from the big skeleton. So here we are with skeletons again. Try to kill the little ones as quickly as possible. The tank will move the boss over as close as possible to the two-hander, chain him over, and CC him to the floor. Once that CC runs out and the skeleton starts walking again, hopefully by then the CC immunity will have worn off and you'll be able to chain him and talon him again, making it easy to take him down without him getting to the rune. Remember, if the big two-handed skeleton makes it to a rune, he will get a bigger health bar, and he will hit harder, and he will have electrical damage that he does to you as well. Remember these little spiky things on the floor that the boss throws out, don't get too close to them. If they explode, it really hurts, could kill you. But it's basically just a combination of one mechanic after another, and they can stack. As you can see here, we've got a fire thing, we've got the little mines on the floor, we've got the Ice Breath coming, make sure to dodge roll. He's going to throw a meteor right after he does his Ice Breath, so watch out for that. Don't stand in the big AoE that it leaves behind. Kill as many skeletons as you can, don't stand in the meteor circle. Watch out for the Skeleton Hand, again you've almost no warning for it, and if the tank's health is even a little bit less than full, it usually results in instant death for the tank. Another thing for the tank to watch out for is the big heavy attack that the boss does. Make sure you are blocking when he does that, and don't be swapping bar, because if you're caught in a bar swap, you're gonna die. It really, really bloody hurts. We've almost got him now. Even during the last few percentages of his health, when you get down to execute, don't change anything that you're doing. Continue to sidestep Abyss, watch out for Vile Confinement, deal with skeletons as they come, don't step in mines, dodge or block the Ice Breath, watch out for the meteor coming down. It's all still happening, but there's nothing extra during execute, so as long as you just continue watching out for everything and managing all those different mechanics, which can stack, you will defeat him. You've just got to be very careful, be very vigilant for everything that's going on. Take out the skeleton. Like, even now, we've got the boss almost dead, but we're still gonna, watch out for everything. Here comes Vile Confinement. Make sure we're not near those. Any skeletons that power up, if you see them coming, dodge roll, otherwise block, and you should be okay. But if you can dodge them, you won't take any damage at all. Any chance that you're able, just focus back on the boss and continue damaging him as much as possible. Again, here's the Abyss. Make sure you just sidestep it. Stay out of the AoEs that happen. Dodge the Ice Breath should it occur. But just keep going. Here he's throwing out more mines. Dump your ultis if you've got them. And don't let up. As long as you keep an eye on everything that's going on, and you keep that focus on the boss, you will win. Just like we're about to do, with a couple more hits. Ooh, Abyss, watch out. Oh, never mind. He's dead. Very dank. Go and loot your Kjalnar head, which looks like Skeletor's face, so that's pretty cool. And your lockpicks. And that's it! Subscribe if you like what you see, and press the little bell to be notified of new videos. And also follow Cat on Twitter for all the latest Catatonia tweets. You can go to Instagram to look at pictures and things. And I think next up, yep, YouTube. You're already here, so I'm not sure why that's there. And don't forget to check out the stream at twitch.tv/Catatonia. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Bosses Only.